Up next, it's a historic town, but also one that will be hugely important to our local future growth. Next up, taking a roam around the region and having a chat with one of our favourite local correspondents about what's going down in his neck of the woods. I love to head out to our local communities and just have a look at what's happening in our patch and how some important issues to those towns are progressing. And I recently spoke with Yandina Chamber of Commerce President Bill Gassane, and we were talking about the town Yandina and how, you know, it might be a town resplendent with a really rich history, but I don't know if you've been there. It's really close to the Bruce Highway and the multiple distribution centres within its boundaries. So it's also a place of the future. It's really interesting. And Bill joins us again this morning to find out what is going on in Yandina. G'day, Bill.
Good morning, Sarah, and good morning, listeners.
Now, we've been hearing about the service station at Yandina. Of course, there was a proposal to put a service station in, which some locals were not happy with when it came to the historic feel of Yandina and what impact that might have. What's the latest on that?
Let me correct you on just one little
point. Go for
it. It wasn't some locals, it was all the locals are against it. And I've never heard of anything like it because when the council asked for submissions, all the submissions that went in said this is a crazy idea. Have a guess how many were in favour of it? 0.
Right.
So it just does not have any support at all in the local community. And at the moment, the court has approved a deal with the developer and the council. And we're still not happy with it because it's still got lots of problems. So we're having a meeting next Friday with Councillor David Law, who's facilitated a meeting with the head of the planning department in the council. And in particular, we want to concentrate on the sight lines for the traffic because, as you say, Yandina is a historic town and therefore some of the roads date back to Cobb and Co coach days. So then some of them aren't terribly wide and the sight lines aren't all that good. So you've got to be very careful driving around town. And this is just going to make it quite a dangerous intersection.
Balancing preservation of the past with that growth for the future must be quite a tricky balance in a town like Yandina.
Look, I think to date we've got it pretty well right because down near the river, the south arm of the river, there's lots of new development going in. It's accessible. And it doesn't impinge on the historical part of town, which is that Stephen Street, Farrell Street, the old highway area, down towards the pub. So that remains pretty well intact. And the councils have actually designated it a historic precinct. So it can't be mucked up. And the development, as you point out, is mainly on the fringes of town, which is not too far out and is accessible.
All right. So a meeting on Friday with David Law. So that'll be interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on what happens following that meeting with locals. Bill, you've got a street fair coming up too, I hear.
It's going to be huge, Daryl, as they say. The street fair is on the 20th of August. And Greg Corbin, who's leading the local architect, is chairing the committee running it. We're certainly behind the whole thing. And the good news is that they're expecting up to 5,000 people to attend. It's been a couple of years since we've had the street fair. We had to scrub our one back in 2018-19 due to COVID, of course, and it's back. So we've got a lot of time to make up. We've got a new committee. We've got lots and lots of good things happening, children's rides, amusements off Railway Street, stilt artists, acrobats, roving puppeteers, as well as great music on the stage, 3 stages, and local bush poet Noel Stallard is going to perform a poem celebrating Yandina and the sunshine in the area. The plein air painters will be out in force doing local scenes and then selling their work. We've got all the groups from around town, the Yandina Yamundi RSL, the Men's Shed, CWA, the Fire Brigade, the Footy Club, the Raiders, the Baptist Church, all putting in their their health, and lots of businesses have come up and are sponsoring the fair. So it's going to be a beauty. And the highlight, from my point of view, is we're going to have the official launch of the Visit Yandina tourist campaign. So we'll be having a stall there and handing out lovely paraphernalia.
All right, 20th of August, Yandina Street Fair.
That's the one.
All right, popping it in the diary now, Bill. And mental health is an issue right across our region. Yandina, you guys, what are you doing about it?
We were very fortunate to get a grant from the state government. It was an initiative of the old Chamber of Commerce and Industry Queensland, who rebadged themselves as Business Chamber Queensland. And as we all know, mental wellness is a hot topic, a very important topic. And small business people are subject to stresses and strains that a lot of people probably aren't aware of, like, having to survive in a tough business environment after post-COVID, looking at rising costs and all those things that we're familiar with. And the business community is no different from anyone else. So what happened, Business Chamber of Queensland do a quarterly survey to find out what businesses are thinking about, what's important to them, and mental health turned out to be one of the big ones. So they made a submission to the state government, and Di Farmer, the Minister for Small Business, visited a couple of weeks ago and announced that Yandina, Business Yandina, the Chamber of Commerce, and surrounding chambers were fortunate enough to receive a grant of $3,000 to start a program designed by us to assist our local businesses with their mental health.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. So what's that going to look like?
We've engaged a mental health expert and who's going to offer free consultation to those who would like to take up the offer. And I guess one of the hard things, for business people is they're so darn busy managing their business, they sometimes forget to look after themselves. And that's not only not good for them, it's not good for their business. So we're promoting it on the basis that the most important part of your business is you, and you've got to look after yourself.
Yeah, it's a very good point to make too, Bill. What else is happening in Yandina that we should know about?
Look, apart from that, it's business as usual. We're having a lovely time enjoying the weather. We're getting lots of visitors coming through. The coffee is flowing freely. So if you're in the district, you'll always be welcome in Yandina. And I guess just from a personal perspective, we're doing lots of things because of our business at Yandina Art and Framing. We're centred on the arts community. And we're doing a promo at the moment in concert with NAIDOC because we've framed lots and lots of pieces that people discovered during the COVID break. Instead of going overseas, they visited their own country and discovered the absolute wealth of talent that exists not only locally but out towards the Kimberleys and in the Territory, brought it back, and it now adorns their walls. So we're publishing some photos on our social media showing just what a great lot of talent there is, particularly locally. If you go over to the gallery in Stephen Street, you'll find some work by the fabulous Jan Damara. It's inspiration. You can't describe it as that beautiful. So that's definitely worth a visit if you're in town. And apart from that, we're doing some work with another local artist, Adrian Ross, who's starting to show his works in Sydney, and they are just beautiful. So there's so much talent in our town, in our district, in postcode 4561, that you'd be foolish to miss it.
All right. An excellent plug for Yandina there, Bill. Hey, thanks for the chat this morning. Appreciate it.
Well, I think you've started off really. We're going to have to put you on the payroll. You gave us such a good build-up at the start there. So, but you're only human, Sarah, so everyone falls in love with Yandina.
I do love the coffee in Yandina, Bill. Bill Gassane there is the president of Yandina Chamber of Commerce. And look, if you have not visited Yandina, you might know it actually from the Ginger Factory. I guess that's one of the bigger attractions that people head to, particularly in school holidays. At the moment, the Ginger Factory has been transformed into Old MacDonald's Farm for the school holidays. You get to meet some gorgeous farm animals there as well. There's a free petting zoo if you're looking for something to do with kids on the Sunshine Coast. That is running right through until the end of this weekend.